Hi everyone. Forgive me, I'm a little nervous. It's the first time I'm doing something like this. Hi, can you hear me? Yeah? All right, so basically I'm going to be talking about natural materials in building. And I have been working with this for many years, so it's a very close subject to my heart. And we have built such structures in my place called Saraya. And we will describe the structures, we will give you some information about what are the roadblocks that we come through when we are working with natural materials, so that one is aware of all the blunders we made while we were building with natural materials, and came across all the mistakes that we made and how we can, not repeat these mistakes and make sure in future we take care of such roadblocks. So basically, we will. This is our tree house that you see on the right side here. As you can see, this is all bamboo that has been used for the structure, and the bamboo ladder is made in a way where even the tread is a configuration of 3 bamboos tied up with rope, and these bamboos have been bought from. Can you hear me? Yeah. They have been bought from the local market. So one has to be very careful about what kind of bamboo one is going in for, because bamboo should be cured, and the natural way to cure it is by leaving it in the river with salt water that has been put into a certain area where the bamboo is stored, at least for 3 months. So that's the most natural method of cleaning it and of taking care of treating it. Now there are many other methods where people are using borax powder and stuff like that to treat bamboo, because bamboo is a beautiful material. If it's well treated, then we can use it for hundreds of years. But it's necessary to make sure that it is not directly, uh, you know, um, directly in the elements as such. If it is directly in the elements, it has to be well treated so that it is lasting for a longer while. So as you can see, we have also used chatai on the walls. Now we have, of course, moved forward from chatai because it's a material that doesn't last very long. So we have now moved to recycled wood, which is taken from containers that come in the shipping yards. And this is very long lasting, so it becomes an upcycled material basically. It's very long lasting because these containers are treated to last for long shipping trips and stuff. So all this material is then taken and used as firewood or thrown, or it goes into the pile of garbage that then ends up littering our planet. So using recycled, upcycled materials also is a little bit of cheating from natural materials, but it is something that is benefiting your planet. So we also have that as part of our building philosophy. So as you can see, the lower part is all made out of mud. So we have the washrooms down, we have the rooms on top because we have paddy fields in front of the room, so we get a view of that. And right next to that we have a spring down, so we collect rainwater there, and it is full during the monsoons, and then it kind of dries up, and by the time it's April, we know that it's waiting for the next monsoon to come. So it's just a natural pond. We are not trying to refill it with any tube well water or anything like that to make it fancy. It's just something that goes with time and with seasons. This is the entrance used to be the entrance of Saraya, as long as it lasted. It was made out of, again, you can see all bamboo, and you see this wood over here. This wood comes from the forest just across Saraya. We have a property that goes up the hill, and this wood is used for, it never rots. So it's a particular kind of wood that we trim off the trees from the property across. And so we are not really cutting down trees, we're just trimming trees. Whenever we're using natural material, we're ensuring that it's something that is going to regrow, and so that we are not depleting the planet of the wood that is so precious to it. We'll go to the next one. So here again, as you can see, this one was also made out of the same wood that I'm talking about. So that wood was then we used light behind it to enhance it. And this whole structure, previously when we first started Saraya, was made all completely out of bamboo, and then recycled vinyl sheets that are basically used for when you have all these sheets of I'm just trying to get the name now, the hoardings. So all the hoardings, the sheets, they go waste, and then that was reused and recycled and used for our roofing. Here, when you see, this is an old structure, which is an old Portuguese house, Portuguese Goan house, which was built almost 300 years ago, because we found papers referring to it about at least 250 years ago. And so we've tried to restore it to its original state, and we even removed the plaster to expose the laterite stone to show how the structure is actually built. And here you can see we have used metal, that is actually iron rods, that is used for construction as an internal material, and we have made it pliable and used it here to all the metal doors and all the railings. This is not a natural material, but it is a material that is lasting once it is treated with a natural material called tar, dambar. So if you paint it with dambar, this was painted 10 years ago, till today we have not had to retouch it. We haven't had to, you have this anti-rust paint and stuff that you have to start redoing every 1 year. This hasn't been touched for 10 years. So this is just to show you that a natural material like tar can waterproof in a way better method than any other today's fancy waterproof materials that are marketed. And we have also created a bridge over here, which goes across this natural pond. In this pond, we have put, now we don't have a picture of that, recent picture, but we have plants that clean the water. We have turtles, we have fish, and the same water goes right up to the property on top here. And from there, we have a waterfall on both sides, where it goes down on both sides, and then it goes back into the pond. And this movement of water creates oxygen for the fish, and so we don't really have to do any oxygen tank and all that paraphernalia that goes into fish ponds. So the fish live in a natural environment, and we sometimes have visitors like snakes that are hungry. They come to eat the fish, and when we first started having these visitors, we were very upset, and we would say, let's get them out, till I was educated by one of these terror conscious volunteers who told me that the snake also needs to eat, and the fish are being born all the time. So it's not like it's a natural cycle, let it be, don't interfere with it. So we are learning all the time, even though we are in a process of having created and built natural environments, we are still learning from the natural environments on a daily basis. This is a staircase that was built out of, again, all this external roots that grow outside the trees. So they were brought and they were used to make the railing. And the threads that you see here, this was the first wood that arrived in Saraya to burn in the pizza oven. And of course it broke my heart, and I said, there's no way I'm going to burn this beautiful wood. And so the creation of the staircase began. And because this is the wood that comes from all these timber places where it's wasted, and they sell it for burning. But we now select the wood that we burn, and we use the wood that we can to continue to create stuff like this. Here you see inside the cafe, we have used on the floor all the waste material that is left in the marble factories. So there's marble, there's granite, there's all kinds of waste stone that is thrown away and sold by the truckloads, or is just lying as wasted stone. So all the floor of the Saraya cafe and the pathways are made with that. The benches and the tables are all made out of Kadapa stone because it was the cheapest and we were on a budget. And so, I mean, basically, as you can see, even the structure on top is all the vinyl that was brought with the bamboo framework. And these lamps were first gifted to us by a fashion designer who used all the waste material that was left over in her studio, and she created these lamps and gifted them to us. And now on an annual basis we keep just changing the saris. All the chefs who work for us are from the village, so every time they don't want to wear the saris, they bring them, they donate them to us, and our volunteers create new lamps every year. Here you will see a close-up of these bamboo staircases that have been created with timber and bamboo. So you can see there is a proper structure to it. You have 1, 2, and 3 of them. So they are holding the sides, and that becomes a structural element in itself. And then to make the tread more comfortable to walk on, the rope has been turned around it. Behind this you see one of the washrooms for the tree house that's above. This washroom was all created with mud and also with bottles that are upcycled into the walls. So what happens is whenever you have the sunlight coming through, the light through the bottles comes in colors. So depending on the color of the bottle, and it creates all these beautiful designs on the floor and on the walls, depending on which side the light is coming from. And you can see it's a very, very basic. All this wood is the same wood that I was saying that comes from across the land. And also we have some timber to hold these structures on top. One has to be very careful about how selecting bamboo. When we selected bamboo initially, as you can see, there are some fat bamboos. The fat bamboos are not really treated. They are not put into the water. They look very beautiful. They are very fancy. We go for them immediately because they are so amazing to look at. And they look like they are going to really hold the structure well. But they are the ones that give way first because they are not treated. They are not left in the river to sit for 3 months. So we have to be very, very careful when we are buying that. This is the structure. As you can see, there's bamboo on top. And now we have had to, kind of upgrade it and add the wood on top of the bamboo because it, after a while, starts, creaking and stuff like that. So we used to have chatai on top, and the chatai again was a short-term material because the idea is to use a material that is not going to go into a dump, that will finally degenerate naturally. So even if you are using a material that's not going to last, it's not going to add to the garbage of your planet. So that's the reason one is usually looking at natural materials to use to build so that you're not harming the planet. That's the essence of it. So, I mean, even if the material hasn't lasted, we've upcycled with another material, and we have continued with the challenge of using natural materials or upcycle and recycle materials to maintain a space. Here again is the same story. You see, it's just a repeat. And you see the lamp here is very interesting. It was made out of rope and gonika kapda, sackcloth. So when the light filters through it, it comes through those little holes and gives like a net. It's a very beautiful light that emanates from that. And these are all plants that grow naturally. We don't have any ornamental gardens. All our gardens are created out of indigenous plants that grow around the property. Here is a close-up. As you can see, this is again the wood that came from the timber as a waste wood to be thrown and into the fire of the pizza oven. And all this is the wood that we have got from nearby land. Here we have a view of the paddy fields with a balcony inside the tree house. This is again all that same wood which has been created as a baluster to again make an art form out of the balcony as such. This is a beautiful spot, all these balconies, because we get to see the peacocks dancing, you hear the chirping of the birds, you're still part of nature when you're living in these tree houses. And these walls are all made out of mud. And for treating the washrooms inside, we had to layer the internal walls with tar or dambar to waterproof the walls and then give it an oxide finish with a color so that it became waterproof because it was all built out of mud. And the upper areas, the higher part was again bottles so that we have light filtering in. And the bottle walls also created structurally, basically, because the bottles are hollow, it becomes a structurally important wall because it's structurally by itself strong because of the hollow bottles. They are a structural form that create strength. So just having a bottle wall and going up to a whole floor is, it is a strong wall, basically. This is inside our dormitory where we had originally put these chatais that were also bought from a local source in Goa. And this is what I'm talking about. It lasted about 5-6 years and then we had to replace it because of walking on top. And then this is all the net that we have put to keep insects, rats, and all the unwanted snakes and frogs out of the property where human beings are residing, because you're right next to a paddy field, so you have all these, it's natural to find snakes and frogs and insects and bees coming in, and us human beings are not used to living with them, although we have one guest here who watches who lives in a tree house and watches the ants as they come with the seasons. You have the black ants that come, then you have the tiny ants that come. They come in a train and they go away. They don't bother you. They just pass through your house. So, there are people who like to come and live within this realm and enjoy this. Here again is the same thing. You see the wall behind, that is the recycled, upcycled material used from the containers. And this wood has lasted us, I would say, at least 7 years so far without a problem. The only problem we had with that was when one of the carpenters used some pine wood to frame it. The pine wood went, but this stayed. And the reason the termite came to the pine wood to begin with is because we have mud structures below. So the termite enters the mud structure if it gets wet at a certain point, like if there's a leakage from the roof or something, and at that point then the mud combines with the moisture and creates the termite. So if we had, now I'm talking about a mistake that was made which can be corrected, wherever the mud wall finishes, if I had given a stone lintel before providing the wooden structure that goes for the floor or for the roof, then the mud wouldn't have had a direct connection with the wood, which would have then stopped the termite from traveling. Also, when you are creating a mud wall, what happens is when you are building a mud wall, it's a very simple method to build a mud wall. We had laborers from UP, Bihar who were working with us. They are the ones who taught me how to build a mud wall. And we were so lucky that we found the right soil in Goa. It's found mostly everywhere in Goa because you have a water table that's pretty high so far, and the minute you hit water and then you start hitting the soil there, the soil that comes out of there is almost like chewing gum. So all they did was they just made balls out of it and kept throwing it and making a nice fat wall so that it had the depth of natural mud walls that are at least 2 feet wide, so that the outside and the inside temperatures are then regulated. So what happened was, when this wall was built during the summer and each layer was allowed to dry naturally, we didn't have problems. The problems still occur in the walls that were made during monsoons, because then the wall inside hadn't dried completely. So it is still living inside. So you have to work with nature, you have to work with the natural seasons when you're using natural materials, and you can't be in a hurry and use your project management about, I need to finish this mud house, even if it's monsoon, I need to finish this wall. When you do things like that, you suffer for the next few years. This is a mud house where we have done the oxide flooring. So now for this mud house, the floor, basically your plinth has to be high. So the plinth has to be completely in stone and it has to go very high. So if the mud house has to survive, and the walls should not have any rainwater touching them at any time. That means even the roof overhang has to go to a level where the rainwater is not going to hit the wall. Then your mud wall will survive. You cannot have a mud wall that will have water hitting it at any time. Once that happens, it's going to start sliding off. It's not like once you've made a mud wall and it's going to live for another 100 years. It will live for 200, 300 years if it's protected, and if your plinth is high. So we created the whole room with the same mud floor that went right up, to sorry. Oh God, what have I done? I'm not digitally smart, so I'm struggling here. Sorry. So we'll just continue with the next picture. So this is the mud house from outside. As you can see, we have done some walls with bottles here. And so here the sunlight comes through the room and then it dances on the floor with the rays of the sun when the movement of the sun goes from east to west. And as it goes higher, the top bottles start dancing on the floor. Otherwise, so it creates a beautiful movement inside of light with all the colors of the bottles. And we have also used some windshields, car windshields, to create, higher glass windows to get the sunlight from above the wall into the room. And the sheets we have used over here are recycled Tetra Pak sheets that are made out of Tetra Pak, which will last for hundreds of years. So your great grandchildren are going to see these sheets. They are not going to go very soon. They will survive for many years to come. Otherwise, they are going to go into a landfill, which is going to keep rising. And I am so proud of the factories that are creating these sheets. They were a godsend to us, because before they happened, we had plastic sheets here with, as you can see, coconut leaves that were put on top. So that is how we actually started, and this is how we ended up. So it's been an evolution. We have been learning with materials that have been created in and around us, with people who are becoming environmentally conscious, and creating materials that is saving the planet. So that was how it was, and this is how it is now. Okay, so this is where we were. As you can see, even this whole beautiful table with the bench and the seating over there is all made out of natural material that came from across the land, and also that came from the timber mart where it was thrown for burning. And we have a tree inside the room that we have left, as we have done with many other rooms. We have left the trees inside the rooms. Again, we learnt from our mistakes here. So what's happening when you're leaving the tree inside the room? We have a connection that happens between the roof of the tree, the roof and the tree when it's coming out. So had we left the tree inside and created a hole where the tree comes out, had a garden below it, with the garden inside the room, let the rain come through instead of protecting the room from the rain, because now we have to put a bicycle tire around the tree trunk and then have the plastic to connect with the roof that we have, because the tree trunk is always increasing and decreasing in size with seasons. And so this kind of stretches with that, but we had to use the plastic to connect with the roof, and that is where I felt I should have corrected myself. But one learns from mistakes, and I'm still learning, and nature is teaching me. This is another mud house. Then again, these are just, this particular one doesn't have the oxide floor. We used some waste tiles, and you can see the same walls, bottle walls. We have bamboo lamps. These beds are made again out of those twisted, beautiful wood that we get as branches, which are brought from the property across the road. And as you can see, all this is all natural material. These bathtubs were old bathtubs that we got, and we had some volunteers paint them. Some of them are pretty garish, but we allowed democratically artists to do their job. So as you can see, we started making the walls undulated above a certain height, and then we put some glass inside so that we had the glass above a level where it was safe to, no one can actually look into the washroom. These wash basins were made out, especially in Bicholim, for us out of earthenware. And again, you can see all this wood are the shelves. This is the wood that goes down. Again, we had a problem here because there's a connection here with the wood going directly on the floor, getting wet. Over time, it kind of starts deteriorating. So then we came up with other solutions where we took kadapa down and we put the same thing on top of the kadapa. So we kind of evolved, it kind of moved forward. So that's it with the project that I have on that exists. And other than that, I think you are probably expecting to know about natural building other than what I have described to you here, where all I can say is that there are so many methods of natural building today, from which the experience I have here is with bamboo and with mud. So I've talked about that. But there is rammed earth, and there is earth bags, and there's these are the two other natural building methods that are prevalent today around. Not everything really fits in with the weather in Goa as such, because we have a highly humid space. We have to see what works where. You also have wattle and daub, so that doesn't work in Goa at all, because it has straw, it has hay, it has materials that are food to termite. And Goa is basically a part of the land, most of it is above termite hills. So termite is very, very easy to come out of the ground and enter your naturally built structure if you're not careful about what type of building you are making. So it's very important to make sure that you don't go for the wrong kind of natural building in the space that you're living in. Depending on, if you're in a mountain, you can go for earth bags, you can go for wattle and daub, because it's a dry air. You can experiment with other kinds over there. Rammed earth will work in Goa. It's a very complicated method. It's very expensive. It's not easy to do. You have to have people help you, in sorting out how to go forward in the construction method. It's not something that Aam Aadmi can do, just anybody. Other methods are easy. People can do it. You can have a whole community that can come together and can be taught easily to do it. Rammed earth also can be done, but it's very specific and it's also very, very technical. So it needs technical support, as in even with the elements of building, the whole structure that needs to go into place to start, how you need to clean the sand, how much mix, what is the proportion, all those things matter when you're going into rammed earth. Then you have the CSEB bricks. That is also a very popular new method of natural building, where you can get the machine, make your own bricks, collect all the soil and let them dry in either oven bake or sun dry, and use those bricks that are made by you and construct a whole structure with the homemade bricks. This has been, started by Laurie Baker, who came and settled in India, in South India, and he made affordable housing for the people. And so a lot of architects went there and made him their guru, learned from him. And this has been taken forward by the Laurie Baker Institute, where people still go to get a few, they have workshops, they have classes. I would recommend, if you're interested, go learn every different type of natural building method that you can, and then adopt what you feel would be suitable for you, depending on where you want to actually build. And CSEB is, I would say, one of the easiest methods presently, where you can work with a community and manage to build pretty fast, because once you have your raw material ready, then it's a matter of putting it together. And construction is not rocket science like people make it out to be. One can learn if we have some kind of a support system where you have technically qualified people guiding you, and anybody can build. You have people coming who are laborers from UP and Bihar. It's not like they are builders. They are laborers. They are coming to find work. They are doing your work. If they can do it, you can do it. I think that we all need to get out of our comfort zones and get our hands dirty and, kind of get into these interesting modes of making a lifestyle for us. Because once you have these natural structures, you are kind of in an environment which creates a natural lifestyle for you, which is what we are trying to do at Saraya. I think I've spoken a lot. I'll throw it open if anyone wants to ask anything. Anyone has any questions?
Sir, you don't want to show the future projects?
Sorry?
You don't want to show the future projects?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, so this is a project that we had designed for my daughter, who's studying in Berkeley, because she's gone to study policy in sustainability. She wants to come back and save Goa and save India. So she had a project where she had taken up Narmadai. So the displaced people of Narmada Dam needed homes to be built for them, and they needed some kind of a financial support, which she has been able to give to them now, because she won the competition with our help. My team is here. They all helped for us to make these designs. Here you can see this wall. It's all CSEB bricks, where all the people who have been displaced will make their own homes. They'll create the bricks. It will become a sustainable option for them, as to take it forward for some kind of financial support and make it their lifestyle. And this wall is all about the Venturian effect. You are next to a courtyard within the house, and the hot air that comes through, it comes through a smaller perforation and comes into a bigger space again. The minute it passes through a smaller perforation, it creates the Venturian effect. This is what they have used from age-old times, you know, the Taj and all the old mosques and everyone that had jali walls. This was the essence of the jali walls. If you had a fountain outside, that cooled the air even further and brought in cool air, so it created a natural air conditioning effect. So the Venturian effect was a very important factor that we used as part of this, this project when we were designing it. And they all have their own, I mean, the Narmada project was basically studying the lifestyle of the people, where they kind of you know, had cattle and they had a lifestyle, the livestock. So all the homes were built taking into account their lifestyle. So here we have a full naturally built structure where we have taken care of I mean, you have the courtyard in the middle, so the hot air comes in. It kind of cools because you have green here, and it's next to your kitchen. And the kitchen has grey water that gets treated here with grey water system by putting plants that clean the water. The same water then goes to the front, it collects in a pond, and you have rainwater harvesting. And the same rainwater harvesting goes into a community pond. So all the homes have this system, and it all goes and collects into a community pond, and that becomes your basic rainwater harvesting tank that is there for the whole year to come. So each home has its own system in place. Even the grey water is taken care of by creating methane gas. The sewage water, the black water, it creates methane gas and biogas plant that is used in the kitchen for your gas. And the rainwater is then collected into these troughs, which becomes the water source for the cattle that is right next to the house. The hay and all the stuff that comes out from the agricultural produce goes on top in the shed over here, and when they are doing this, they can look at their cattle. So there is an internal kind of relationship between the cattle and the people who are living in the space. And this is the common room where everyone congregates to do what we would call a living room. It is their living room. It's not like a living room like we have a drawing room. So this is the place where everyone collects and meets, and they actually work from this. This is their office or their warehouse or their workspace. And then you have these balconies and verandas that go all around the house. So the one next to the kitchen is next to the kitchen of the next house. So the kitchen has a relationship with the next house kitchen. This has the working space again next to the working space of the next house. So in that sense, the cattle is next to the cattle of the next house. So everyone is connected in a way where you are in a similar kind of lifestyle at that particular moment. This is the same house. As you can see, you have, this is the courtyard, this is the space on top to store the produce, this is your kitchen down and washroom, this is the pond in front, and these are your verandas. As you can see, all of it has been done with CSEV bricks, and they are very fond of using blue in their doors. So we have used blue so that they don't feel too far away from the homes that they used to have that were blown away with the dam. This is another type of construction where the whole thing is made from bamboo, because you have different levels of farmers. There are some who are used to living like this. So we have created the structure for the farmer in the way that he's used to living in. His cattle and all his store goes in the ground floor. He goes and lives on the first floor. And all his functioning happens right here on top. These are his sleeping quarters, and his kitchen and working space is on the ground level with his cattle store. So we have just tried to follow the system that they are used to living in and recreated that. Of course, we've added solar panels and stuff to add to the self-sustaining support system for them. So there's solar panels, there's making of CSCB bricks that creates a lifestyle for them so that they can earn from that. Then we have methane gas created by the biogas that is self-sustaining for their kitchen, and the wastewater from the kitchen and the wastewater, it goes and the rainwater is harvested. So everything is tried to get into a self-sustaining system here. So basically this is a project that was designed, and now it will be taken forward because it has been awarded by the university funds so that the people in Narmada get some homes, and hopefully this will create a trend for other people to have an inspiration to help those who need help.